along the line, it has to be, I would say it has to be 60% or more. And I've heard Bertie Ahern saying that and others, because, you just can't say, oh, where's 1%, because it'll be 50-50. I think if there was an agreed iron tomorrow, you would have the reversal where, by and large, the nationalist community over the years didn't buy into the new Northern Ireland until the Good Friday Agreement. But all that spirit of the Good Friday Agreement, it's dissipated in many ways. So for me, it has to be certainly more than 51%. Now, I know that's been agreed. I think that's part of the Good Friday Agreement, the mechanism. But it would be a disaster for us all. Definitely it would be. And there would be, and I know people are saying, well, you end up your threatening balance. It's inevitable that will happen.
Do you think it's inevitable?
That
United Ireland will emerge at some point?
Well, if there was going to be some sort of a referendum and some sort of agreed Ireland, balance would ensue. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And it's clear, if you look at, even at the moment, if you look at the recent violence up round by the northwest, Portrush, Ballymoney, there's been 18 gun attacks there by loyalists on their own people, and feuding and all that as well. It wouldn't take much for those people to turn their guns on the nationalist community. That's only one area. If you think of it, I think of East Belfast and see the paramilitary still very much ruling those communities, and there have been instances where they've used guns. There was a rifle found this week in East Belfast, Our Road. Same the Shankill Road and Rathcoon and places like that. So, but for me, Sinn Féin is the worst party to be pushing for an agreed Ireland. One to talk to people. Now they get the odd, what I would say, poster boy for Sinn Féin. One to sit down and talk to him. But people would listen more to the likes of the Taoiseach or Leo or some of those people. Certainly not Mary Lou. As I say, there's a trust there. There's a mistrust there that I can't see it ever evaporating.
That's a mistrust in Northern Ireland.
And Republicans.
Or just of republicanism. What do you think a Sinn Féin stands for? Like as distinct from Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael or any other party? What?
I would say that my experience with Sinn Féin over the years, not that with all Sinn Féin, but too many would be quite sectarian in a sense. And for them, for some of those people, it wouldn't take them much to go back to balance themselves. I mean, there was a situation here where, Sean Murray, Spike Murray.
Yes. I'm trying to get, in fact, do you have an email address for him?
I should have, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been trying to get in touch with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about him?
And he was caught a few years ago there. Do you remember the guns? Well, there was this thing, and the American guy said he was bringing weapons into Northern Ireland, and I think he'd been charged in that as well. But the guy who was involved in this thing, he actually dropped dead. Nothing mysterious about it, but the whole thing collapsed. But it showed loyalists and unionists. So here's people from the Republican movement still bringing in guns in a sense. Maybe those guns were to protect them against the dissidents, because the dissidents were obviously attacking some of the Sinn Féin members and that as well.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that if you had moderate voices there, the likes of Micheál Martin and that, I think people are happy enough talk to people like him. I'll give you an example. I remember being at a number of meetings with DUP MLAs. The MEP was there, and all the members of Parliament. This happened on a number of occasions where Peter Robinson got up and he said, you know something, and some of the DUP people didn't like it. He said, we now have the best relationship we've ever had with the Irish government. And you think to yourself, how did that all dissipate? Well, we know it was partly because of Brexit, but partly because Peter Robinson moved on and others. But, and Peter would still have a very good relationship with Bertie Ahern, as an example.
So those kinds of relationships don't exist now.
Yeah. And there's also, you know yourself, there were very good relationship between loyalists and Republicans. That has dissipated. Mostly that has dissipated now. Where they would have worked together on the interface, they kept the peace. I've been involved in the interface for many years. And Republicans would have contacted me, I'd have contacted them. If there had been, low-key violence or kids maybe thrown across the peace line or whatever, same across Belfast and beyond. That hardly exists anymore. That's the problem. Now, some people are still talking Republicans and loyalists, but those are people who have built up a relationship over the years.
That's sad.
Because one of the things I found, and I said this to some people recently on Zoom, and some people from Haiti, I end up in some of the politicians from Haiti, and I said, when I worked on the interface, trying to stop violence, I said, I'm sitting beside people who maybe tried to murder me when I was 17, or nearly killed my sister in a bomb explosion, or murdered my cousin Thomas. I said, so you have that sense of you don't trust these people, but you want to work to keep the peace. And by working with people, you build up a sense of trust with them. But on top of that, you build up, at times, friendships. And that's exactly what happened up in Stormont. When the doc, when Paisley and Martin McGuinness, and then Martin McGuinness and Peter Robinson, they worked to try and make this place better. Genuinely, and believe that. That doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. And you still have a situation where, DUP and Sinn Féin could pull down the shutters. Now, it wouldn't be like the last time, but totally pull down the new mechanism set up where some things will continue. But as I say, people, senior unionists, never mind DUP, have said to me, the thing will collapse before May 2022.
Just finally, and thanks a million for the time, Sammy. I've really enjoyed the conversation. And make sure to say hi to Andy for me, okay?
I'm going to ring him tonight. See hi.
Yeah, okay. There's kind of a link. When I interviewed him many times in the early 80s, and all those interviews are stored someplace that won't come to the light of day until some historian finds them. Because to tell you the truth, I don't know where they are any longer.
Yeah. I know. I remember Andy telling me, because I'll tell you a quick story before we go, Patrick. When he was Supreme Commander of the UDA, some of his colleagues went to him and said, look, there's a group in England here. We're talking about nationalism, the National Front. And Andy said, well, they're a bunch of racists. I don't want to meet them. And they said, but look, Andy, they've contacts across the world, they've influence, they've money, probably access to guns and all that stuff as well. So they persuaded Andy that there were some people coming over that they should meet. And Andy said, I'll tell you what, on principle, I won't meet them, but I'll get someone from the UDA to meet them. And he got this guy from East Belfast. Now, you think of during the Troubles, the only black UDA man that I know is black. And he was sitting there and the three guys come in with somebody else. That was the last I saw of him. But that fella was actually, I remember he was caught in an armed robbery